Whales have always interested me, you know what I mean? I guess it's because not many people spoke about it, you know. When I was a kid, we heard about them, you know what I mean? But we learned a little bit about the history, but not a whole lot. But I think I have a propensity to actually like and want to know countries that are not talked about, less mentioned, you know, around the world and stuff like that. So today we're gonna be watching Visit Wales: 10 Things That Shock Tourists About Wales. You understand what I'm saying? And to think something is gonna shock. Hopefully it's a good shock. Hopefully it's a good shock. You know, something cultural or even something in the day-to-day lives and things of these people that may shock me. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and YouTube and simmer and see where I'll go on with this here.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Wales for 10 things that shock tourists when they come here to Wales. And the first thing that shocks tourists when they come here is Welsh. Yes, the Welsh language. I know when you think, oh, I'm going to Britain. There's England, Scotland, Wales. Yeah, they all speak English. Yeah, they speak English here in Wales, but they also speak Welsh. Like a lot of people will speak it as their first language, actually. And when you see it, the shock is your mind going, how do I put those letters together? Where'd the vowels go? Like, it's funny because you'll see tourists when they're at the sites, right? I mean, I do the same thing. And you're trying to figure out, it's like, no, I want to figure out how to say this word. And you're like, I'll figure out the country's name. You're like, okay, Wales, Sirima? No, Kumina? You're like, you just gotta like try to figure out how to say things when you're here. It is really tough, and you'll see it all over the place. All the signs are in English and Welsh, so you'll be fine if you don't speak Welsh. But it is kind of funny when you see it. You're like, dude, I have no idea what they are saying here. Okay.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I kind of knew that they would be speaking a different language, but I never really thought about it, and I guess it's because of the correlation between the whole British thing. And I do have a friend from Wales, you know what I mean? But she just spoke perfect English, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to slight the fact that she speaks English. I didn't really realize that there are people in Wales who speak an actual Welsh language, and that's their main language. So I would have gone there, and I'm going to be totally honest, that would have taken me by surprise. That would have definitely taken me by surprise. You know, but it's kind of cool that I watch these videos so I know once I visit what to expect. And you know what? My friend never told me that this was the vibe, you know what I mean? She's always like, come on over. And I know they speak English, but then when we go to certain areas, because I like to go to those little nooks and cranny areas, countryside areas, you know, where the real culture is. And then I can't understand what they're saying then when I get there. But that's interesting to know.
Now, the thing that's nice, though, is if you kind of figure out the phonetic way of saying things, it actually kind of makes sense. Like, all the vowels that seem to drop off, you're like, oh, I guess I don't really use that vowel anyway. So it kind of makes sense when I say it out loud to myself. But just know, as a tourist, you're not going to know any Welsh. You don't need to know the Welsh. It's okay. You might want to know a few words to like be helpful, and I'll put some up here to help out. But overall, just know Welsh will shock you when you are here. But it is one of those things that it's nice when you try, and when it's here, they're like, oh, look at that cute tourist just trying to do Welsh. We all speak English here. You're fine. But it is kind of a funny thing. Now, the second thing that's going to shock you as a tourist when you come here to Wales is the amount of castles and castle ruins that are here in Wales. Now, you know there's Cardiff Castle and Caerphilly Castle. Those are kind of the more popular ones people visit as tourists because, oh, you go to Cardiff, the capital, and you go see the closest big castle from there. Caerphilly, you have that. But honestly, look at a tourism map of Wales. You will see maps all over the country. And the thing is for me, actually, I think some of the ruins are much more impressive than some of the upkept castles. So when you are driving around the country, just know that you're going to take a little detour every so often to hop off, see a castle ruin here or there, or a castle or something like that, to enjoy it for an hour or two, and then get back on the road. The thing is, what you'll see is when you go to these castles, it doesn't always have the same entrance exit kind of thing, or you might not be able to get right back on the highway or the main road as where you came in, okay? And that, so do have a heads up for that, because you might need to go a few miles this way to come back a few miles that way. And that kind of leads into the third thing that shocks you when you come to Wales.
No, that's the one thing I know about Wales, all the castles. You understand? Oh, and by the way, my friend, she's actually from Cardiff. You know what I mean? So they probably speak mainly English there than the Welsh. But the cool thing I think about visiting Wales would be the castles, man. Because I have, I have this urge to just walk in history and close my eyes and see the horsemen and the armor, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, when they talk about that history, we think of the battles and the wars and stuff. But I would like to, just imagine walking around the ordinary people, people sending their kids to the store or whatever, the shop or whatever they call the market, to get groceries and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And people are always talking about, they wish we would go back to simple things. But there was crime back then too, so you know what I'm saying? Kids are disappearing, people are getting killed, you know what I mean? Was the crime rate any better then? You know what I mean? We seem to think that, oh, these are the worst in the times and stuff like that, but things were happening back then, Was the propensity to want drama so much prevalent back in those times? That's how I feel when I sit in this building here. I think probably was built like from what I see here, in the 60s, 50s maybe, and I often wonder who walked in this place before I did. What was it before they turned it into an apartment? Because downstairs to where I live, there's a business. Did they store stuff up here that belonged to the business? Yeah, I think the business has been here since I think the owners built this building, his grandparents or whatever. So, I'm always like, and even back home when I walk through the old forts and stuff, I always think of all the soldiers and stuff, because that was tumultuous times there on the island when everybody's colonizing and fighting and stuff. There's a place called Leapers Hill back home where I just go stand there and close my eyes and sort of imagine the mind space of the natives of the island when they just leaped off that precipice to avoid becoming slaves. So that's what history is to me, just closing my eyes and trying to imagine myself being there. Now, if there was a time tunnel and I could go back, I think I'd be too chicken to do it. But just using the imagination part of it, I might go back there. You never know.
Is the driving and the little tiny lanes that you'll be driving on when you're here. Look, you're going to take the M4 into Wales, okay? You have that. But to really, and you can go to Cardiff and stuff, but if you really want to explore Wales, you got to have your own car, and you're going to explore out, and you're going to go down these tiny, tiny lanes. Like, it looks like it only fits one car, but you know what? There's going to be cars going both ways.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be a little shocking, a little nerve-wracking with those hedgerows really up high, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Someone's coming, what do I do? You pull off into the hedge, there's usually a little not a ditch, but like little bump out. You kind of pull in there so they can go by, or they'll flash you to come and they'll pull off to the side. It's okay, but I will tell you, you are going to be going on a lot of back roads. So make sure if you're going to be driving here, get the GPS, all right? It is a lifesaver because, believe me, when you see the roads here, you will understand.
Hey, that's something that Wales got in common with Grenada. Narrow roads, man. And like he said, you're going down them narrow country roads, just pull over to the side, let the next person go by, or they'll pull over to the side and let you go by, and ironically enough, there's not a whole lot of accidents in roads like that, because I guess people are used to it. I know I'm going to have to get used to it when I go back to the island, driving on them small roads. In the city, a lot of the roads are just one way because two cars can't go by at the same time. So a lot of the roads in the city is like one way roads, And they're really narrow. And I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine last night. She was checking out what driving is down there. Like, she said, oh my God, those roads are so narrow. And I told her too, and I guess that's the same way here. Like in the town, well, Cardiff and the big cities maybe have, bigger lanes. But in the city, one-way streets. Where I live, the roads are pretty, where I lived, where I plan to go live again, in that area, the roads are pretty wide. Two cars could go by easy, you know what I mean? And I think they made one into like a 4-lane road, if I'm not mistaken. But they're pretty easy to get through. It's when you go out into the countrysides, man, that's when you hit them narrow roads, because a lot of when you're going into countryside, you're going up mountains, and there's not a whole lot of space to build roads there. You have to blast into the mountainside, so they just made narrow roads. You know what I mean?
Wasn't just the road you have to watch out for. What you have to realize is when you're going to be driving here, it may say, oh, it's only 50 miles away. And you think, oh, that's an hour drive. No. Think that is like a 2-hour drive, because you have all the hills and all the tiny roads and stuff like that. Also, Wales is really popular for bikers, like people on bikes going around, so you might need to watch out for that too. So just have a heads up, okay? And when you're driving, there's probably going to be one thing that might make it even more complicated, and that's the fourth thing that's going to shock you when you come here: the rain. Now, it's not raining right now. It was raining before, and yesterday was a beautiful day. And I don't want you to think it rains all the time in Wales, but how people talk about Wales online, and how people talk about Wales in tourism and stuff like that, you would think, and I know Jocelyn mentioned this, she goes, we're driving over the bridge into Wales, and she's like, as much as people say it rains in Wales, I kind of expected one of those cartoon sheets of rain to be starting right at the line between England and Wales, so when you come in, it just starts pouring down rain. Look, it does rain a lot here. Like, we have 90% chance, 90% chance, 100% chance of rain the next 3 days. But the thing is, it doesn't rain all the time. It can be misty or a little bit of rain, stuff like that. It's okay. But the thing is, you got to realize it probably will rain when you are here. So do bring your jacket, umbrella. Also, you're going to do a lot of hiking when you're here. So make sure you bring your shoes for in town, but then bring a pair of boots, you can hike in, but also they can get muddy and stuff like that, because that does happen, okay? And the thing is, though, when the sky's clear in the afternoon and you have a beautiful, clear evening, the fifth thing that's going to shock you when you come here to Wales is the stargazing you can do when you are here. I mean, there's not a lot of development throughout the country. There's not a lot of light pollution that's out there. You have a lot of nature that's here, so you have these beautiful, clear skies. And when you look up at night, I mean, it is like, wow, gorgeous. Like, you see the trail of the Milky Way, and you see so many more stars out there. And the thing is, we're here by Brecon Beacons National Park, which is one of 11 in the entire world dark sky reserves. So this is like a perfect spot to do stargazing. I feel bad that I couldn't take better pictures. I mean, I don't know how to do that. I need my buddy Spencer Pablo to help me out to get pictures at night, but my God, we got home last night. It was a beautiful day yesterday, sunny all day. It was fantastic. We get home at dark after dinner. We're just pulling our little driveway, get out of the car, say, kids, look up. And we look up and we're like, oh, wow. Even my 12-year-old tween, which if you're a parent, know how hard it is to impress them, was like, wow, this is amazing. Look, I can see the Milky Way. I'm like, yes! I was proud as a parent, but I was proud as an astronomy kind of guy. I'm like, oh my God, it's so crazy. It's just so crazy. And the stargazing here is awesome. So definitely come, get out at night. Don't just hit the bars. If you're going to stay at a cottage or something like that, make sure you take some time on a clear night to look up, because, man, it is fantastic stargazing when you are here. And speaking of gazing at things,
I tell you what, that's something that after a while living in America kind of hit me. I couldn't stargaze, man. Too much light pollution. You look up and it's like just darkness beyond the light that illuminated from all the buildings and stuff. You know what I mean? And the moon back home, man, it's like you could reach out and touch it. It's so huge, that's why I try sometimes to look up at the stars, but it doesn't, no, you can't see anything. Now, you go across the bridge here in Ohio, and it's kind of dark out there because it's just patches of little towns here and there, and you could actually see the stars and stuff like that, But you don't see a whole lot because there's still some light pollution, so you don't see the Milky Way and stuff like that up here. But my God, man, on a nice moonlit night, just go out into the backyard, spread a tarpaulin on the ground, lay on your back. That was when my plant, my crop wasn't too tall. Lay there and just look up at that sky. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. And people don't understand what they're missing when they live in a city. You have no clue. So if you visit places like that, well, I mean, I don't even mind it's going to rain there. Look how beautiful that is. The greenery. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
the sixth thing's going to shock you when you come here is the natural beauty of Wales. I mean, this country is gorgeous. And when you come here, and I got to be honest with you, you don't come to Wales to go visit the cities, okay, and the towns and the villages. Yeah, there's some cute towns and stuff like that you can see, but what you really come to Wales for is the outdoor adventure kind of stuff, the natural beauty kind of stuff, going hiking and stuff like that, going, if you want to go kayaking, if you want to go cycling around, if you want to, you can go, climb some mountains and some peaks and stuff like that. It's really kind of a cool thing, and it's for all ages. I know today, we as a family just wandered through Brecon Beacons, wandered around where our cottage was. It's really very much of a nature lover's kind of country. So maybe you want to go up to the north and go to Snowdonia National Park and see the peaks there and hike there. It's gorgeous. Have a little, go do more of your adventure traveling kind of stuff there. Here at Brecon Beacons with the hiking and stuff like that. They have these little, you can take the little trains up. Also, a lot of cool little trains around Wales to check out kind of tourism stuff, but also to get places, which is nice. Or you go to the Pembrokeshire Coast. There's a national park, the Pembrokeshire Coast National Park. You can go there because the coastline, dude, Wales is all coast around it. I mean, there's 3 sides of it, and the coast is gorgeous. There's not a lot of people visit.
Okay.
That's another thing that's kind of shocking. As beautiful as this place is for nature, you don't get a ton of tourists coming here, so you get a nice on your own kind of feel when you are here. So there is that. But if you are more of a city person and you're not a big nature person, basically what I would say is go check out Cardiff. Cardiff actually is a really cool city. I know the first time I went there, I was impressed by it. Every time I've gone since, I've been impressed by it. I'm like, man, this is a good city because there's some museums to check out. You got some good nightlife and bars and restaurants. I had a really good time when I visited there in my 20s. I mean, it was a really fun place. But just know that if you're coming to Wales, it's more of the nature kind of stuff and going and seeing those castles kind of things than it is a city vacation. Now, the next thing that might shock when you come here is how similar yet how different in some ways Wales and England are. I mean, Wales and England have been tied together for a very long time. And what you'll see is there's a lot of similarities. If you go to a restaurant, you're going to see the similarities. The fish and chips and the beef burgers and the bangers and mash kind of stuff, or sausage and mash kind of stuff. But the thing is when you're here, you'll also get some of the Welsh culture. Yes, there is the language like I talked about, the people, the food. Yes, it's more than just Welsh cakes. Okay, Welsh cakes, think of a scone smashed down into a tiny pancake form, really dense. Actually pretty good though. Or maybe you want to go have, you want to have lava bread. And lava bread sadly is not made out of lava or bread. It's actually made out of seaweed, okay? You have some stuff that's very much Welsh. And when you come here, you do have a different vibe. It's like when you go from England into Scotland, you have a different vibe because it is a different country, okay? So do have that there. Though you don't have the stamp that says you went to a new country, you do have that vibe when you are here. And that's one of the things that kind of shocks people. It's like, yeah, it isn't just an extension of my England vacation. I just go from Bath into Wales, as another part of England. No. You have some similarities, but you do have those differences, and that's really cool. And I guess the next thing I want to talk about for a shock for you is with that England-Wales thing is when you look up and you search things online about Wales, you'll be shocked how little there is on Wales for tourists.
Yeah.
But also how much the English really rip on the Welsh. I mean, it's kind of like their de facto joke for my simpleton kind of friend, ha 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 joke. Kind of like in the U.S. people make fun of Southerners kind of stuff. You see that a lot with the English when they talk about Wales, which is kind of sad because the place is actually really nice to go to. Tons of tons of the castles and the nature and stuff like that. People are super nice, so it's kind of sad in a way that they have that, but you'll be shocked that most of your research will show you, Welsh jokes, okay? But another thing I need to tell you about that's going to shock you as a tourist when you do come here is, I will say, you will be surprised by the starkness and emptiness when you do go to some of the kind of run-down old mining towns. I mean, Wales was huge into mining. That's where the money really came from. And when they stopped doing the mining, those towns really suffered. So when you go to those towns, sometimes it feels like a ghost town in some of them. Now, there's been redevelopment in a lot of places and people move around the country and stuff, but you do kind of see that. And as a tourist, you come through this beautiful, beautiful countryside, and then you see this kind of rundown village here or there that happens because the mines closed down and stuff like that. Now, there's been a lot of gentrification or beautification of these places too, but it is kind of one of those things you see and you're like, wow, I'm shocked, but I can see where the mining industry really had a boom, but then you can also see where the bust happened as well. And I guess, and going along with that emptiness and starkness kind of thing, for more of a happy note on there, is one thing you should realize is also you'll be shocked of the emptiness you will see after 6 p.m. in any village or any hamlet or any town in Wales. Maybe except for Swansea or Cardiff or something like that, but honestly, after 6 p.m., when you go downtown, it's empty. I mean, it is empty because all the stores are closed. Okay, all the stores are closed. Banks are closed. Only thing that are open: the pub, right? You got a few restaurants. Okay, gambling, sports betting. You can still sports bet. You got that, but really, it's like empty. So if you don't get to one of the mining towns that are kind of a ghost town, you can just go to any village you go to after 6 o'clock, and you'll feel like you're in a ghost town. All right. So, but don't worry, okay? Because.
I kind of understand what he's saying there about the mining towns, because that's happening right here in the state where I live. I saw a documentary, and I believe it's a town that it's called Bluefield, and the guy doing the documentary was walking down the city center in the middle of the day, and there was nobody. Like, I mean, nobody. And that's a former mining town, and there's a lot of these like spotted through this area here, especially West Virginia and Kentucky. And even the town I live in, it's not really a mining town per se, but a lot of the coal mines, the coal stuff went through here, and a lot of the big industry was here. But all of those things have sort of, gone away. And when I first came here, this town that I live in had like 80,000 to 100,000 people. And now it's down to like 40,000. It bumps up to like 60,000 when the students are here, because quite frankly, the biggest thing in this town is the university. But now the university is having issues with enrollment, so even that is down. Like, about 5 years ago, I lived next to one of the main streets here, 4th Avenue, and it goes right straight to the college. And it used to be like there were people up and down. And I'd walk out there and it's practically empty. It's practically empty. So, I understand when he said things that, forget about going out on a Sunday, man. On a Sunday, one car go by, and this is considered a pretty big city in this whole state. It's one of the big cities. Coal gone, industry gone. It's crazy.
If you think it's a ghost town, then just go into the local pub, okay? And that will lead us to the 10 things that's going to shock you if you come here, is how fun, how kind, and how welcoming the Welsh people are. I mean, for all those jokes the English make, they don't make enough of them about how nice the Welsh people are. The thing is, when you go around, the people are so happy you're here. Like, hey, they'll ask you, like, why did you choose to come to Wales? We're not usually at the top of people's list. And so you want to tell them, look, I came here to go see the mountains. I wanted to see the stars, the gaze of the stars, how beautiful it is, or see the castle ruins. The people will be very appreciative of that, and they show that appreciation back to you. They're funny, they're friendly, they'll tell you where you should go. I know everyone's like, oh, no, don't eat this place, go here tonight, okay? If you don't have a place, my cousin's there, he'll help you out. Don't worry, we'll get you in. It's been really nice when we've been here. And the Welsh people, and I've met Welsh people when I studied in Germany and I studied in other places. I had other exchange students from Wales that were there. They're always like the most fun, party-going, like easy-going kind of people. And so when you come, you have that vibe as well. Remember I said similar and different than England? That like more laid-back kind of vibe you'll have here, and friendliness is really kind of a cool thing. So I hope this helps you know if maybe Wales is right for you to visit. If you want to learn more, maybe some of the more like how-to things about Wales, we have a video of what you should know before you come to Wales as a tourist for the first time. Also, we got things on 5 things you should eat when you come to Wales, all on our website at waltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Alright, that was a nice video. I like the fact that he emphasized the nature of things, and he didn't talk so much about the big cities and stuff like that. He talked about the nice, the villages and stuff you could visit. Now, I wouldn't mind going to Wales and going to a nice quiet little village, you know what I mean? Because I bet those are the nicest people. They're not in a rush to get anywhere, you know what I'm saying and thing? And I wouldn't be like, I'll have my friend come over and, I think she lives in Germany right now. Well, actually, she and both her and her husband are my friends, you know what I mean? Hey, Peter, wagwan. I know you watch my videos sometimes and thing, you know what I mean? But, man, it's got me daydreaming now. I just bumped this up on my bucket list. You understand what I'm saying, thing? But, if you guys like this video, drop a like on it. I'll leave a link to the description, in the description to this video. You understand what I mean? And if you like how I react and thing, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button and thing, alright? I'm going to leave links to other videos that I have reacted to Wales and stuff, and other countries. Well, Wales, because it's Wales I'm doing here. So you could, just keep watching it. You know what I mean? In the meantime, you all take care of each other, all right? Cool runnings.